My name is Sophie Smith and I'm the founder of the Running for Premature Babies Foundation. 13 years ago, my husband Ash and I became parents for the first time 3 times over to triplets. When we were pregnant with our triplets, we thought we were the luckiest people in the world, and we couldn't think of any greater miracle than to be becoming parents to 3 babies at once. But sadly, our babies arrived very prematurely at 24 weeks, and despite huge efforts to save their lives, our babies were unable to overcome their prematurity. Henry lived for just 1 hour, Evan lived for 10 days, and Jasper lived for 58 days.
My name's Peter Courts. I'm the Director of Neonatology at the Grantley Stable Neonatal Unit at the Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital. Babies are born prematurely for a number of different reasons, either relating to the baby itself or an illness that precipitates delivery or necessitates delivery. So if a baby gets into difficulty and the overall decision is that it's better outside than inside, then the obstetricians would deliver.
After they died, Ash and I were obviously left absolutely heartbroken, but we were also determined that this was not the end of their story and that something good could come from our boys' lives. We wanted something good to come from them. We decided we should train for an upcoming half marathon and try and raise some money for the hospital. So I thought this was an absolutely brilliant idea. I decided that we should raise $20,000 because that was the cost of 1 humidity crib. And so that's what our goal was. And I threw myself into trying to find people to run with us. We ended up with a team of 98 runners on our very first half marathon, and we smashed our fundraising target and raised $80,000, providing 4 new humidity cribs for the hospital. And once that first race was over, I knew then that I wanted to do it all over again the next year. And that's really when Running for Premature Babies was born.
My name's Amanda and this is Ollie. He is a very happy, bright 2.5-year-old, but he didn't have the best start. I had a pretty good pregnancy with him, but at 29 weeks my waters broke. So once he was born and we got over the hurdle of an emergency C-section, he was resuscitated and taken to the neonatal intensive care unit, where he had an entire team of doctors and nurses looking after him. Unless you go through that scenario, you just have no idea that that whole world exists, and the level of care and what is involved in caring for a premature baby at that gestation. It's a very vulnerable stage of life. They're still very susceptible to infection, so every day is touch and go, particularly those first couple of weeks were really frightening.
Basically, an extremely premature baby faces a number of challenges, and that relates to almost all of their organ systems. So they're not really designed to survive outside of the womb. They have problems keeping their own temperature and humidity. They can have problems with their brain, with their heart, with their lungs, with their gut in terms of feeding. Mostly the initial issue when they come out is lack of respiratory effort. So they either don't breathe enough or their lungs haven't developed enough so that they can survive on their own.
It's a very frightening 8 weeks all up of pretty much a roller coaster of just anticipating and really just trying to take one day at a time, but feeling very, very grateful for the doctors and the nurses, and most importantly the equipment that is in those units keeping those babies alive.
We've been going for 13 years. We're a registered Australian charity. My vision now is to grow, to support more neonatal units around our country, to create more running communities so that we can support more hospitals and ensure that more families get to take their babies home. So I'm really excited that now the time has come, after 13 years supporting the Royal Hospital for Women and babies born prematurely in New South Wales, that we're going to take our first step to becoming a truly national charity, and we're moving to Queensland in order to create running communities in Queensland to support the equipment needs of the Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital Neonatal Intensive Care Unit.
To be the Queensland ambassador for Running for Premature Babies is such an honour, and being able to spend time with Sophie and help her with this charity and help her now raise money for the very hospital and the very neonatal unit that saved Ollie is just incredible.
Neonatology is quite expensive, and it's quite expensive to look after babies. There's always a finite amount of money that comes in from government and from the hospital, and it's always being squeezed down, so you've always got to try and do more with less. External funding helps in the way that you could fund areas like research, some equipment that you may not be able to get, some research activities that we wouldn't be able to fund from within. External funding makes a huge difference in that sense.
Whether it's a 5-kilometre fun run or an ultra marathon, it doesn't matter. You can take on a running challenge of any distance in order to support our foundation.
When Ollie was about 12 months old, we did our first fun run. We did the 5K Brisbane fun run, and after that I just knew I wanted to get more involved. Ollie and I can run in different events together, get other people involved, so people can either do a running challenge, take on a running challenge of their own, or they can support someone who's running and see that this money that's being raised is going directly to Queensland hospitals, directly to the neonatal units, directly to equipment, life-saving equipment that's giving premature babies a better chance of survival.
It's incredible how, with funding, advances in neonatal care are being made. Even in the 13 years since my babies were in a neonatal intensive care unit, survival rates are getting better and better. And that is because we've been able to fund research to advance the care of premature babies for the future, and also fund the very best state-of-the-art life-saving equipment. My dream is for a better chance of survival for every single one of the 26,000 babies born prematurely in our country every year.